your dog is using language and communication like their body language, ear position, eye position, head position, body posture, facial expressions, and their movement, and sometimes their vocalizations to communicate with you. The only problem in some cases is that we're either not paying much attention, we're not understanding or interpreting our dog's communication very well. And of course, we have a bit of a communication gap because, well, our dogs can't use their words to talk with us, if you know what I'm saying. Hi, I'm Kathy Kowalik, and I believe that our dogs connect us to the heart and soul of what really matters in life. So hang out, and we'll take a deep dive into the human-dog connection and explore strategies that will inspire you to create legendary, enlightened partnership with your dog. This is the Enlightened by Dogs podcast. Well, hello, brilliant one. Thank you for taking the time to hang out with me today. This is Kathy Kowalik, your host of Enlightened by Dogs, and I've got what I think is an interesting and insightful and hopefully helpful topic to talk to you about today. I've got some insider tips that will help you better understand your dog's behavior. So before I forget, have you shared an episode from Enlightened by Dogs, one of your favorite episodes? Maybe this will be the one. Share it with your friends and let's get the word out. I'd really, really appreciate it. And of course, as always, if you could take a few moments to leave a rating and review on your favorite podcast app, that would be awesome. Okay, so does your dog ever look into your eyes as if they want to tell you something very important, but you've got no idea what? Well, that happens to me a lot. And of course, it could be something as small but urgent as needing to go outside to pee, or it could be something more important for them, like maybe the UPS guy is walking up the driveway with a package and your dog wants to let you know that there is a potential threat in the neighborhood. But whatever the case, your dog is using language and communication like their body language, ear position, eye position, head position, body posture, facial expressions, and their movement, and sometimes their vocalizations to communicate with you. The only problem in some cases is that we're either not paying much attention, we're not understanding or interpreting our dog's communication very well. And of course, we have a bit of a communication gap because, well, our dogs can't use their words to talk with us, if you know what I'm saying. And so they are trying to communicate with us through their behavior and vocalizations like, whining, barking, growling, and all the, postures and expressions and movements and all that. But here's the thing. Understanding your dog's behavior is crucial if you want to build a trusting, harmonious, and deeply connected and cooperative relationship with your dog. And of course you do. We all do, and that's why you're here. So when your dog tries to tell you something with their behavior that you don't understand, it can definitely be frustrating. I mean, not just for you, but for your dog too, right? Because there's just like a communication gap. Now, the good news is that you can definitely learn to better understand your dog's behavior. I mean, with more mindful attention, dedication, patience, presence in the moment, you will be able to decipher how your dog is feeling and what they're trying to communicate so that you can become a more and more brilliant partner for and with your dog. Now, one of the most common mistakes that dog parents make when seeking to better understand their dog is that they look for understanding in a way that isn't really relevant, and it's definitely not helpful in the circumstance. So, for example, it's not all that helpful to know why your dog doesn't like tall men with beards, or why your dog feels uncomfortable with certain types of dogs, with big black dogs or little squeaky dogs, whatever. I mean, these types of questions, these types of why questions only serve to keep you stuck and feeling confused and keep your dog feeling unheard. I mean, think about it. Understanding that your dog feels uncomfortable or feels frustrated or feels anxious or feels triggered with certain things is really all you need to know. I mean, why they feel that way won't change your response, will it? Well, not if you are thinking about how to create more calm, more connection, more cooperation, and more trust between you and your dog. It makes sense? Okay, so here are 3 of my tips to help you better understand your dog's behavior. All right, tip number 1, your dog's, air quoting here, your dog's bad behavior, so your dog's difficult behavior, is a cry for help. Since dogs can't talk it out with words, they act it out. And this means that they use their actions, their behaviors, to communicate their feelings. When your dog feels happy, they make it clear, with tail wags and smiles. And in my case with my border collies, lots of spinning. However, when your dog feels uncomfortable, vulnerable, worried, unsure, and they feel unheard about that, their behavior quickly escalates from a whisper to a shout, aka big, loud behavior that we just can't miss. So their whispers start small, and they can be tricky to catch if you don't know what you're looking for, or maybe you're distracted, maybe you're thinking about other things, you know what I mean? And for example, if you have a reactive dog, well, they might just completely lose it around other dogs. Excitable dogs may pull you towards something or bark at something, bark at you, right? Because they want you to take them closer, or they want to go sniff something. A dog busy checking their pee mail might not come to you unless you've got a delicious, tasty treat in your hand. A fearful or anxious dog might try to get away or hide, or maybe bark in defense, for example, right? And so those behaviors all started as whispers, and we can think of these types of behaviors as bad or difficult or unwanted. But what if you simply changed your perspective? What if these types of behaviors are simply communication that ultimately escalate into your dog crying for help? Like when a dog lunges at another dog or barks hysterically at your elderly neighbor for no apparent reason, it's because the situation is making them feel stressed out, fearful, or maybe even frustrated. I mean, sure, it doesn't make sense to us because, well, like maybe we know the other dog is friendly and we know that the elderly neighbor is just watering their plants and neither poses a threat to either you or your dog. However, there it is. Your dog is feeling stressed and like they're in a position to feel like they have to deal with the situation in the only way they know how. And they're responding to it, reacting to this situation with so-called bad behavior, difficult behavior, unwanted behavior, because they're not being heard in a way that causes their human to listen and make appropriate changes to bring back feeling safe and calm. All right. So 2 segues right from there. Pay attention to your dog's whispers. I mean, most, if not all, unwanted or difficult behavior from our dogs are simply cries for help. And they start with a whisper. I mean, and sometimes they're so subtle. Like, did your dog lean into your leg during a seemingly ordinary situation, such as passing another dog on a walk? That was a whisper. Like maybe your dog like hung back just a tiny little bit, right? That was a whisper. Or maybe your dog lifted up their head a little higher. Maybe their ears got a little bit taller and they became more alert. These little whispers, these little actions are whispers that your dog is communicating with you, and they're telling you that they feel a little uncomfortable. And if you didn't recognize the whisper, you probably just like got on with your life, right? Just do what we do. We're just going on. And meanwhile, each time your dog found themselves in a similarly uncomfortable situation, they realized that you weren't listening to them. And so their whisper became louder. Maybe your dog started to bark at the trigger, maybe pull you in a different direction, maybe tuck their tail between their legs, maybe try to escape, or maybe lunge and bark to create more space for themselves. The worst thing you can do when your dog is communicating is to dismiss your dog's communication as irrelevant because you don't see it the way they see it. I mean, your dog needs to trust you, right? And each time your dog's whispers go unheard, your dog can become more and more convinced that they need to take things into their own paws. Now, this next bit is important, so hear me on this. This entire scenario, this spiral, as I think about it, it grows worse when you become hypervigilant. Like, and we do this all the time. We mistakenly believe that, oh, well, I'll watch out. I'll be my dog's lookout for, anything that might be disturbing. And we become hypervigilant. But when we do this, our hypervigilance only confirms for our dog that the thing that we're looking out for is really something dangerous because, hey, we're looking out for it too. And it ends up making our dog even more hypervigilant as a result. And so this spiral just sucks us in deeper and deeper and deeper. And sadly, this spiral means that the trust that the two of you have begins to leak through the cracks. And I call these are trust leaks, right? And it's all the way around. Like you can't trust your dog to behave responsibly, and your dog can't trust you to keep them safe. And then you start leaking trust for your own self and your ability to make good decisions. And you know what I mean? The whole thing becomes like I don't know, like a sieve, like a trust sieve, right? The trust is just leaking out. All right. So how do we work with this? Well, tip number 3 is to listen to your dog's whispers. And so what is the remedy with these issues and to the situations where our dog is feeling a certain way? Well, I mean, the answer is really simple. Just learn to listen, intend to listen more deeply to your dog's whispers, and perhaps figure out where are the times and places, etc., where your dog is likely to be uncomfortable based on historical data, like your dog has like escalated in the past. Well, those are the circumstances that if you do need to put yourself into with your dog, that you are going to be more cognizant and more intentional about connecting to your dog, not the environment, but to your dog, so that you can pick up on your dog's whispers, right? So when your dog tells you in their own way that they don't feel safe, calm, and happy, believe them. They're just telling you the truth. And then you could make a choice that can help turn things around. Like maybe go somewhere else for your walk, or a different place, a different time, different day. Maybe change up the routine so that your dog feels differently about the experience, feels happier and calmer and safer. What can you do to make it a positive experience instead of a negative or stressful one for both of you? So honor your dog's whispers by creating experiences that build confidence and trust. I mean, trust is so important because when trust runs deep, you and your dog can handle most any experience together. Together is better. So let's turn things around, right? Instead of thinking about their behavior as a sign that you've got a naughty pup on your hands, think about it as a sign that there's something going on that is worthy of your attention. For example, if your dog gets anxious when visitors come into your home, well, they might whisper by ducking a little bit behind your legs, or maybe trying to, hide behind your chair, or maybe they'll go into a different room. Now, your initial reaction might be to try to make your dog comfortable around visitors. And so that might mean that you encourage your dog to say hi. Maybe you even decide, oh, I better get more people over because my dog needs to have more visitors. And so you invite people over more often in an attempt to increase your dog's exposure to visitors, in the hopes that it will get them used to the concept of having visitors. So now what happens is, instead of maybe hiding behind your legs a little bit, for example, the first whisper, now your dog's level of communication turns into a louder version, maybe a shout, bigger behavior. Maybe they bark a lot. Maybe they growl. Maybe they snarl or even snap. Or your dog might have the opposite reaction and tremble with fear, or try to run and hide behind the couch until the visitors have left, right? I mean, listening to your dog's whispers before they escalate into big behaviors is key. That's what I want you to take away here. So in this visitor example, don't try to coax your dog to approach the visitor. Make sure your dog has plenty of space to move away. No pressure and lots of space works wonders. I mean, I have a complete masterclass on this issue, this common struggle, in my Brilliant Partners Academy, because it is so common. It's a common cause of stress in so many dog families. I invite you to remember this. your dog is not giving you an intentional hard time. Your dog is having a hard time and they need your help with a difficult for them situation. Your dog does not want to be difficult. Exhibiting difficult behavior is your dog's way of communicating that they're stressed, that they feel unsafe, uncomfortable, anxious. And once you realize this and you take this to heart, it's going to make a huge difference for you and your dog. I mean, when our dogs behave this way, it's our responsibility to come up with a solution that works well for everyone. I mean, what would a brilliant partner do? Like, what can we do to change our behavior and to modify the circumstances that would make it easier for our dog to feel safe, to trust us, to feel heard? And we feel the same way because we don't want our dogs to have to communicate so loudly with more and more difficult behavior, right? So all good relationships are based on trust. And when your dog feels safe, calm, and happy, they'll begin to trust you more and more. And it starts with listening to whispers, honoring those whispered communications, and be intentional with creating experiences for you and your dog that promote feeling safe, calm, and happy, and trusting and connected. All right, well, that's what I have for you today, my friends. Have a great week. I will see you next time. Bye-bye for now. Be brilliant.